Welcome, and thank you so much for being here today at the Developer Marketing Summit. It's exciting to see some faces that I've worked with in the past and meet so many new people here today. I'm Tavia Meredith. I'm a Developer Marketing Program Manager at Google Cloud. Thank you, Katie, for that introduction. I kind of fell into developer marketing through reorgs and such at Google, but I previously was a field marketing manager, and now I'm on the developer marketing team, and it's been exciting because throughout my career, the user has always been important. I started out my career as a community manager for a gaming company, and then a few companies later, I was managing a user group. So to be in developer marketing now is an honor, and I'm so excited to share with you today some of our learnings. And without further ado, I'd love to introduce my coworker, Heather McCormick, who I'm so blessed to work with every day.
Hey, thank you so much. It's so wonderful to be here today. And thank you, Katie, for such a warm introduction. I already feel like I'm learning so much being a part of today. And learning is something that is really close to our heart and that we're going to talk a little bit more about. But like Katie, I think, mentioned, I am Global Product Marketing Manager at Google Cloud, and we're focused on training and certification campaigns and programs. But we sit within developer marketing overall. So we care deeply about our developer community, but I personally have a real passion for education and skilling. And so it was really the dream whenever I started in this role 3.5 years ago with Google Cloud that we were focused on skilling programs at scale. And we're hoping to share a little bit more about some of the work that Tavia and I and some of the team up there who've come along as well today have been working on over the past few years. And at Google Marketing, we talk about know the user, know the magic, and connect the two. And we know our users, our developers, the technical practitioners who use our Google Cloud products every day. We get to tell them a little bit about the magic of our products. So the training and certification programs and campaigns that we talk about is really so our users know how to learn about our products, how to use them better in their organizations or find jobs where they can use our products. And so really that's the magic that we want to share a little bit more about today. We focus a little bit more on use cases and some of what we've done. We want to learn from other marketers today about what you're doing, what you're seeing works, best practice and things like that. So thank you for indulging us. We'll be about 20 minutes just sharing a little more about what we do.
For sure. So like Heather said, we work very closely together on all things developer for Google Cloud. She brings together that product marketing excellence and campaign leadership to the team, and I help support by building those online experiences for developers through online events, webinars, live trainings, videos, etc. So today, between the two of us, we're going to talk about the importance of a training-first strategy. Okay, so we're going to talk about that importance of training, how it leads to developer adoption. We're also going to talk about where the market is and where it needs to head, right? Heather is going to walk you through one of our biggest launches, Google Cloud Skills Boost, that happened last year. And then we're going to talk about some of our evergreen campaigns and programs that we've been running to keep that drumbeat rolling. So yeah, anywho, let me advance the next slide. All right, so just to let you guys know, by 2030, it's expected that there's going to be about 85 million people shortage in this talent shortage for IT skills gap, okay? It's going to lead to potentially a huge revenue loss for companies because they do not have the skilled workforce to be able to compete in the market, okay? We also find specifically in cloud technology that 80% of IT leaders point to an unskilled workforce as being the biggest hurdle to overcome in the coming years and right now currently, okay? So as you can see, there is a huge skills gap to address when it comes to IT technical skills, and we are gonna need to meet people in non-traditional ways. So currently, You could go to university, get a degree in computer science or software engineering, but that is not necessarily available to all. And Google has done like an incredible job, I must say, with programs like Grow with Google, where there are certificates for IT support, UX design, etc. So Google Cloud, we're leveraging a lot of that good knowledge, and we have some incredible training and certification programs that we're doing to help upskill that audience. So how does Google Cloud define a developer? I think it's important for us to call this out because we're touching a lot more than just a traditional developer. So a developer is somebody who builds and writes code and deploys apps, right? But we're also talking to DevOps, those who are maintaining the operations behind that. We're talking to data professionals, so data scientists, data engineers, analysts, IT admins, sysadmins. So Google Cloud has a huge product offering, so we have quite a few different personas that we're trying to reach. So we kind of lump them all together, but essentially Heather and I are targeting technical practitioners, okay? I also wanted to talk about a little bit how are developers learning today. Just previously mentioned the Stack Overflow survey. That's a great survey. And this is where we get a lot of our research as well. But you will see right now that actually most of our developers are learning through online resources. So that can be forums, blogs, videos, that type of content. And then there's still folks that are going to traditional university, but there's also been a resurgence of online courses and certification as well. Some of those providers that you may have heard of are like Zero to Mastery, Coursera, Udacity, Pluralsight, and actually Google Cloud has a lot of our technology courses on sites like Coursera, Pluralsight, and Udacity. So in general, this is just kind of a recap of some of the things that we're doing right now at Google Cloud to upskill folks, is we're looking at things like documentation, having that accessible and available so that's easily searchable for whatever kind of project that you're trying to do. Sample code, tutorials, how-to videos, that's a lot of what I do, labs, training courses, having the availability to talk to an expert, building that community through things like GDGs, and then also support in the public forums such as Stack Overflow, Reddit. We also host a ton of webinars and online events. So yeah, in general, there's a lot of tools that you need to be able to help upskill these developers. As you can see, there's a huge gap that we have, and there's a huge opportunity to train and motivate people to get into technology and provide them some really awesome careers that way. And as you all know too, technology is ever changing. So it's not just a one and done type program. It's going to be a continual motion that needs to happen throughout as technology evolves. So, and with that, I'd like to pass it to Heather to talk about one of our biggest launches.
Yeah. Oh yeah, perfect. I can take it. Perfect. So like Tavia mentioned, we see a huge opportunity in skilling our developers, our technical practitioners, in knowing how to use our products. And so last year in October, Google made a commitment to upskill 40 million people with skills in cloud. And actually, huge shout out. I really want to acknowledge Carrie and Annie, like the team that came together to make this happen. It was quite extraordinary. And we felt like I genuinely felt very privileged and honored to be a part of making that kind of commitment, recognizing there's a skills gap, especially for these new and emerging roles in cloud, and that we as a company were able to do something and make a commitment with this product launch. So we made the commitment to help upskill 40 million people, and we announced our new learning platform, Google Cloud Skills Boost, to enable skilling at scale. And Google Cloud Skills Boost is our definitive destination for Google Cloud learning. We're offering a curated role-based learning paths. So like a lot of the technical practitioner roles that Tavia mentioned, we wanted to make sure they were accessible. So individuals who were in those roles already or who were looking to upskill and move into roles in that area, we wanted to offer those curated role-based learning paths as well, and basically give our learners the opportunity to work through training courses, hands-on learning labs, and to have the opportunity to earn badges, to prepare for Google Cloud certification, and all of that happening in one destination. And so, let me flick to the next slide. As part of our launch, it was actually great to hear the owned, earned, and paid media. We actually we didn't do any paid media for this, so it was very much in the owned and earned space that we got to launch Google Cloud Skills Boost with a range that it showed up across our owned channels, across social, across web, but we also worked with our PR and communications team to do some media briefings in the run-up to our flagship event, which happens Google Cloud Next, where we were announcing this new learning platform for learners and making this commitment to our 40 million upskilling in Google Cloud. And so as part of that, we saw great coverage and pickup in some of the tech publications. We published a blog and we localized it for several different languages. In the first week, we saw 70,000 folks engaging with the content on that blog. And really, as part of that blog, we made the commitment but we also were making a promotion available for 30 days no-cost trial of the new learning platform. And we saw 61,000 people signing up to get started with their learning journey with Google Cloud. And be that, the learning paths that we had available, or just some of the light touch learning labs, or you can do multiple labs to earn what we call skill badges, which are one of the, they call it micro credentials. It's like the lower lift credentials before maybe working towards our high value credentials of Google Cloud certifications. And then as well, we actually partnered with Coursera. They wanted to come alongside us in this announcement for skilling to reach millions, and they're an excellent partner of ours and B2C brand in the learning space. So they actually also were offering 1 month free for our Google Cloud training available on their platform. So we were able to include that in the announcement as well, and it really helped with that going in partnership to market. Was really great for our reach and meeting developers and learners where they are already. And the final thing, which I won't steal Tavia's thunder too much, because this was really led by Tavia and the team in the digital event space, but we also announced our inaugural learning event, a dedicated digital learning event, which had global reach, called Cloud Learn, which was happening in December. So we did the initial announcement in October, but then we were encouraging folks to sign up and come to our dedicated learning event in December, which Tavia is going to share a little bit more about.
Thank you. So Cloud Learn, it was all about building that drumbeat of the Skills Boost launch. We launched in October. We wanted to continue that momentum and have another moment in time in December. So what was really great about this event is we partnered with a lot of our regional field teams. We were able to bring this to multi-languages, multi-time zones, to make it a truly global event for folks to actually get a little bit of their feet wet in training and learning about Google Cloud. So at that event, we actually had, again, as I was mentioning, developers for Google is a broad bucket of a bunch of different personas. So we wanted to make sure that we had content available for different types of learners. So we had a data track, we had a track for developers, for DevOps, for those who are getting started, or the IT admins who actually might be working on migrating over to the cloud. So we wanted to prepare content from our instructor team to be able to deliver at. The event was actually 2 days long. So we started off with that getting started foundational content at the beginning. And then the next day, we actually got hands-on. So we had instructors lead live labs. So folks had to actually do the labs simultaneously with the instructor. They were able to get familiar with the product, get their questions answered live, and create that experience that we know is very valuable for someone starting out, being able to ask those questions and feel, heard and seen, and can continue with that journey of continually learning. What else about Cloud Learn? We also not only just had training and skilling content, we actually also had self-development content there that was really awesome to see. So we wanted to add more to it because, as much as we want to train developers and get them excited about their skills, we also want to empower them and so that they can be successful in their careers. And not only that, Heather led the keynotes with some of our customers. So we heard from Twitter, Lloyd's Banking, and they shared great stories about what training has done for their organization and why it was valuable for them to make that investment. They're able to move faster. They're able to outpace their competitors, things like that, launch faster, all those great things that we love to hear that is happening for our customers when training is implemented and folks really feel confident using our tools.
And the reality is, with a launch like that, we learned a lot as product marketers, program managers, about what success looks like, but also, things that we probably wouldn't do again. I think it's important to talk about those things as well when we're launching a product, just the importance of partnership with your product and engineering team to understand what are you launching, how to differentiate that in the market, how to get those demos early to make sure you understand as a product marketer what it is so that you can develop messaging that's true to the product experience as well. So we were working in really close collaboration with the product team and the engineering team on what was it that we were launching with Google Cloud Skills Boost. We also had to work in really close partnership with our brand team of how to position this learning platform, because we have partners as well where we publish our platform, but this was our first party branded experience of Google Cloud Learning. So worked very closely with big Google, I say, but the broader kind of brand studio team for the naming process and that journey and getting stakeholder buy-in around that as well. So I think that was one of our takeaways, was early on, we want to get the most and the best understanding of the product, but we can also, as product marketers, influence and provide the voice of the user as part of that as well. So we were able to test and prod and ask questions about the experience because we were developing that messaging, that narrative, that story that we wanted to feel authentically was true of the product experience. And I think the other piece as well, which Tivia touched on, is that idea of a rolling drumbeat. So whenever we launched the product, we didn't want it to be a one and done. We wanted to say, hey, here's an opportunity for you to get started with learning and upskilling with Google Cloud, but here are multiple opportunities in the future. And so Cloud Learn was one of the ways that we did that in December. But then a fast follow in January, we launched a digital learning campaign focused on the new learning paths that were available. And as part of that, we were trying to reach the different job roles that had that demand, be it the cloud architect, cloud engineer, data engineer, ML engineer. We had over 10 curated role-based learning paths that we wanted to make sure folks could get started at no cost with their learning path, and also that they could prepare for our Google Cloud certification exams as well. And I partner really closely with Tavia on having essentially monthly learning webinars that highlighted labs in the learning path. So if people wanted to come along and ask questions and learn from experts but have time for Q&A, we were able to do that as part of the learning journey in community, which we know is incredibly important. And so I guess wrapping up, we've shared a little bit about the Google Cloud Skills Boost launch, but there are other ways just on an ongoing basis. We have evergreen campaigns and programs to make sure learning is accessible for our technical practitioner community. And so Tavia runs a series of events on a quarterly basis, cloud onboards, and that's really that foundational level content and getting started with Google Cloud and hearing from our Google Cloud experts and infrastructure and data and ML. And then these study jams, which is essentially more like a hands-on learning lab that you're walking through together with an expert. So we continue to run those as great ways for folks to get started and then hopefully to continue their learning journey on Google Cloud Skills Boost, having attended those events. And we've also partnered with the business and broader stakeholders, developer advocates as well, to find fun and creative ways to do gamified learning. And so just this year we've started, I think inspired by Wordle, which had a complete obsession. I don't know if there's any Wordle fans out there. I'm still trying to do it every day. But we wanted to do a kind of daily learning lab and have a bit of challenge around that, bit of social sharing. So a colleague of ours, Forrest, created what's called Google Clout, so to kind of flex your muscle and show your clout in the cloud space. We were offering basically a daily learning lab there. You would race the clock, try and get the best timing to complete the lab and share it on social as well. And I think Kachi also mentioned, ways to engage our developers with, complete this learning, earn some swag, or share, get the opportunity to come along to events or early access to betas, things like that. We partner again with the business to offer what was called a Learn to Earn campaign. So when they completed learning, they were able to earn exclusive Google Cloud swag as well. So all of those ways, it's just we're always looking for new and fresh ways to engage with our developer community where they are in the ways that they want to learn. And we recognize that to reach millions, we need to constantly be thinking of new ways to go to market. And that's a challenge as marketers because we have in our toolkit the standard, here's where it goes, there's the PR announcement, there's the web channels, there's the social. So we're always trying to think of new ways, with new channels, how can we show up differently and in creative ways for our community. And actually, we often find they come to us with suggestions as well. And we've got a new program, the Innovators Program, is a way for us to hear from the community, again, to what Kachi was sharing a little bit about. That's where our greatest advocates come, our champions come. Whenever they have ideas for learning, they come to us and we say, hey, can we scale that? Can we engage the broader community in that? And we've seen some really positive results that way too. But just wrapping up, I think today is really, I feel already inspired by the talks that I've heard this morning, and we hope that sharing a little bit about what we've done in Google Cloud with our focus on an education-first strategy for developers, and just what we've seen having impact and having value and really engaging our developer community, and ultimately. We have seen that individuals who are trained actually become great users of our products and drives adoption. We also see them become advocates for us. They do the marketing for us, which is honestly much more authentic. And yes, I've heard it said many times, oh, developers don't like marketing, but they like to hear from their peers and they value the opinions and the experiences of their peers. So if we can give them positive experiences where they become our champions, they become our advocates, I think we're all winning there. And so as marketers, it's been talked about, but keeping our content as accessible, as creative, as engaging, and just broadly relevant that's where we should focus in and listen to our community, listen to our users, respond to their needs, to their feedback. At Google we talk user first always. Like, their opinions really matter to us, and I think that's where I'll land. Is like, we constantly want to hear from the developers that are using our products, that are consuming our training, and they're coming to our events, they're coming to our programs. We love the good feedback, but you know what? The tough feedback is actually even better, because it makes us better marketers. And that's what I say, like, maybe in some of our conversations today, like, what are the things that we've learned, and heard from our developer community that have made us think again, or adapt, or pivot, or stop something, or start something, because I think there's a lot to learn from the community that certainly, we've benefited from, and I'm sure you have as well. But thank you for listening. I know you're all ready for your coffee break, so I don't want to hold you back, but thank you.
Thank you.
The passion and experience really came through, and the thing that I was piecing together from all of this is, we had that first session that really talked about the importance of framework, and that second session that really gave us a really beautiful framework with that flywheel notion, as well as the connecting it with data. And now for you all to really take it and walk through a live use case with that growth mindset, that it's not a one and done, that there really is always something to learn from. I take that from my kids' reviews, which is the concept of glow and grow, and actually use that at work. So I think that was really energizing. I do want to give time for a couple of questions. So if anyone has anything to ask our presenters, the time is now. One in the back.
I'll shout. How did you distribute the digital learning day in December? What platforms do you use?
So we use an internal platform. Google is very known for building their own products versus adopting third party. So it's an internal built tool.
Thank you.
So I have a very selfish question about the paid, owned, and earned that you did. This is an ongoing conversation with Tom and I. I'm curious if it was a strategic decision not to do paid, or if it was just it's not in the budget, it's not something we're going to approach for this one.
Yeah, great question. And without going into too much detail around like how we do paid media, but we need extremely significant budgets to be able to go to our agency who manage that. And so it was a combination of like not having the brief ready in time and not having the budget. I think we would have liked to, certainly, but it's not something that we had scoped out. Basically, they need like a quarter notice on media planning and media buy. So yeah, like full transparency, you need significant budgets, and it's not something that we're doing all the time. It's certainly something that we're exploring and we want to invest in the future, but it's a kind of delicate balance of all of the budgets, and I guess ultimately, what do we prioritize sending our developers to? Learning is one thing, but trial in the product is probably takes priority in a lot of ways as well. So I don't know if that answers your question fully. I'm happy to talk about it more, but yeah, I'm kind of skirting around the details.
Yeah, and I could give my 2 cents too, is
Yes.
that Google, primarily makes a lot of their money through ads, so we have to play by different rules too, as being whenever we do any kind of paid media. So it is a lot more budget and a longer timeline to launch than probably most companies.
And I think you bring up a really interesting point, and I saw another hand there, is I've now had the fortune to work in developer marketing across companies of different sizes, everything from having been their colleague and teammate at Google to having been in a much smaller company at Asana, and now interestingly being at a smaller brand within a larger company at Slack and Salesforce. And I think one thing that I've found is, and it might be an interesting conversation over networking, is that tension of the timelines we operate on, being scrappy, being nimble, thinking about that paid, earned, and owned, and yet within these larger organizations that do have, for right reasons, timelines and structure and bureaucracy, how we kind of navigate within those two things. Because I think that that's an interesting learning you share there, which is there was a real need, you took advantage of a need, and because of that, there were other elements of the marketing toolkit that may not have been as readily available. And really beautifully, after we wrap this up and after we have a lovely break, is the next speaker is actually going to dig into toolkits. So there's this like perfect journey that you all put together. It's fabulous.
Love it.
Question.
Yeah, so kind of following up on that, beyond the Google PR machine, how do you create awareness for an audience who may not consider themselves currently a cloud engineer, but would be really interested in taking that learning path or switching careers?
Yeah, do you wanna, or yeah, I think, great question. We love this. We're always asking it ourselves as well. So we partner really closely with our higher education marketing team of how we can get into colleges, how we can make sure we're showing up with free and accessible opportunities for foundational learning content. And that's why I pointed at Tavia, because Tavia does a lot of fantastic foundational entry-level content, but we have to balance that with a kind of business focus on how do we win the enterprise today. And so that balance and that tension, I think we as a team are always wanting to make sure that we're looking at the future workforce as well as the current workforce and making sure that they have the skills that they need to do their jobs really well today. But that future workforce focus, we need to get into higher ed, and we partner with the team on that piece, and we also, you know, look for opportunities to do more foundational, introductory level, getting started learning paths and things like that for both career switchers as well as like you know, job seekers who are maybe going for their first role. But Tavia mentioned as well, you know, we have a wonderful initiative in broader Google called Grow with Google, and they would do a lot of that foundational learning content for some of the entry-level technical roles. Like there's a data analyst career certificate, and so we're partnering with them to say, okay, once you've done the data analyst learning path, how can you continue to grow if you want to become a data engineer or you want to become a data scientist? So giving them those opportunities to like map into the next level of learning content is something we haven't done a perfect job at it, if I can say that, but certainly it's something that we want to do more of and recognize. Like we need to think of our future workforce as well as like that focus on our current users and customers of our products today. Does that cover it? Or
yeah, I think so. We have a lot of work to do, though. I mean, in general, of getting more folks skilled. As you can see, there's a huge talent gap. So we're working on trying to solve that, but also being enterprise focused.
Yeah. Awesome question.
I think it's break time.